Morning, guys. This is Kelly, also known on Twitter as Kelly in 1977, and it's now 3:20 a.m. the third Thursday. I uh, I actually woke up at 2, and I decided to lay back down. Um, so the other night, I had to sleep in the chair because of my back, and I really wouldn't call it sleeping. I it was about probably 3:30, and I was up by 8 yesterday. But it was just more or less dozing on and off, tossing and turning. I heard my husband get up a couple times, to use the bathroom, not really sleeping. And I was up all day yesterday, from 8 to 9, which is 13 hours. So at 10:30, I decided to make the macaroni, and I took a thumbnail picture of it. So it has a pound of hamburger, pound of sweet Italian sausage, 2 onions, fresh garlic, can of diced tomatoes, and one small, like 6 ounce can of sweet corn for extra vegetable, with a pound and a half of pasta. We probably have like 3/4 of a pound because my husband had a huge plate. I use the Taco Bell plate for the healthy meal choice. Comes with rice and meat and extra lettuce, guacamole, stuff of that nature, black beans. And I filled that up with it for him. He ate the whole thing. And I had, it's there, I want to say Nacho Supreme, smaller dish. And I had like 3 of them filled up. So it's like half of what I gave him. And that's what we ate throughout the day. So yeah, it was real good. It took me 2 hours to make because I had to cook the hamburger by itself. Well, I started with sweet Italian sausage, put that to the side. The hamburger, drain it, add the onions to it after it was fully cooked, add the garlic, let that cook for about 25 minutes because I left, the pieces were huge, so I wanted it to be cooked thoroughly. Then added the corn, then added the sauce and tomatoes, and then had to do the pasta separately because I only had my small pan, so it took a while. So we'll be having some of that for dinner tonight. And we have sandwiches and salad, so there's no need to really have to cook for today. Um, and I try to use my sister's thing that she gave me for my back. It's supposed to heat up, vibrate. Well, it vibrates, and the piece I attach is metal, but it doesn't seem like it heats up. It gives like an electric current, kind of like it hurts. Um, so I don't think I'll be using that. I'll try the other nozzles because there's other ones, but that one's supposed to heat up, which is should help with back pain. But right now, I just have my brace on. I didn't wear it yesterday, so I figured I'd wear it today. God's Basement, as I said, I would be talking about that. I'm not going to replay it. It's not very fun replaying something, so I just decided not to do it. But I would talk about what happened after the fourth video. So he finds out backstory that his grandmother and grandfather had a grandson they were very close to. And they were coming home from a party. Could have been Christmas, New Year's Eve, coming home from a party. No other car was involved in this accident. The only person that survived was the grandmother. Alcohol was a factor. So I don't know if the grandmother was totally sober or had a few, but the grandfather was drunk. And this is why the accident happened. Her son and daughter-in-law blamed her for the accident. I do know that they ended up having a daughter, but they don't talk about her at all, which is unusual. So I don't know how old she was, or she was older or younger. They stopped talking to her after this, so she had nobody. For, I want to say, between 5 to 10 years. It was quite some time. And the daughter-in-law wouldn't hear it. She blamed her and didn't want to hear anything about it. Which I don't know why she blamed her, but maybe she had a few, maybe she felt her husband could drive. Who knows? The son would write to her maybe once a year. And then when he found out that his wife was pregnant again, which could have been anywhere from, I want to say, 5 to 10 years later, he started to write to her a little bit often. Every 6 months, every 3 months, then back down to every 6 months. When the child was 6 months old, he told her that he was moving out of state and was not going to give her any information of where they were moving to, and that they were in the process of selling their house now. Prior to this, maybe a year back, he told her once the grandchild was born, she would be able to see him. That was a lie. So she's been alone for all these years. She doesn't have anybody else. Her son's trying to reach out to her, but still either the wife won't let him or he still has a lot of guilt and is unsure. Like, mad at her, but has guilt about what happened. Because, I let you have my grandson, like my child, and you know what I'm trying to say. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. So before they could actually seal the deal and move, she goes there late at night. It's a storm. She has a knife. She turns the radio up, and she murders them both. Her grandson's 6 months old, and you can hear him screaming in the background. The newspaper clipping said that the person who did it so violently that the husband and wife were not recognizable features of their face. That's rage and anger and pain and suffering and guilt. So she got awarded custody shortly after. Never found out who did it, never found the murder weapon. She raised her grandson, and when he was about 10, she started to act weird. Walking around, sleepwalking, talking in her sleep, talking to the radio when it was staticky, looking at pictures for hours at times, mumbling things that don't make sense, like, they wouldn't forgive me, and you will never forgive me, things of that nature. He started to write like a diary about these episodes. Didn't happen maybe every 6 months. And then it started to happen more frequently once he went into ninth grade, 14. And then in 10th grade, she started to remove the pictures but stare at the frames and talk to them. Break dishes. It started off late at night, then during the day, and she doesn't remember doing it. Writing letters in the pictures in red ink. If you put the letters together, it spells out murder. And she would just continue to do this. It got so bad that she would be walking around with a knife at night. So he got a part-time job through high school. 18 years old, he got a scholarship to go to college, and he had to make a decision. Do I stay here with my sick grandmother, which now they know she has, they believe, schizophrenia, and maybe a little bit depression, because she needs somebody to take care of her, and he's the last of the heir. Or do I go to college? Well, he had a hammer, and he removed the plywood of one of these doors, which I was assuming was her bedroom, but it was another hallway. And I thought at that time he murdered her, but he didn't. He decided not to go to college and decline it. Got an 8-hour job at a warehouse, sorting boxes and papers, and boring job by himself at night. And he would put the plaques of wood over the door at night so she couldn't get out while he was at work. She should be sleeping. And during the day, when he was sleeping because he had to go back to work, she would be breaking dishes and stuff. So she couldn't do anything at this time. She couldn't bathe herself, dress herself, cook for herself, go shopping, buy her medicine, take her medicine. She literally couldn't do nothing but walk around, mumble, and throw dishes. But as he was growing up, she would tell him that a man in the radio would talk to her through static. So This is where he got the idea for something. He's getting tired. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He can't stand his job. He's miserable. He sacrificed everything for his grandmother, thinking that he did the honorable thing because she raised him because his parents were murdered. He's going through boxes in the attic and come across some newspaper clippings of it and some letters from his father to his grandmother. And it puts the picture together that he didn't know he had a brother who was older, who died. And then he realized because she kept certain clippings of the incident and the things that she was mumbling, walking around with knives, breaking dishes, a man talking to her through the radio, that he realized she did it and why she did it. And he decided to make the man in the radio real. So he maybe used a computer. He said certain things that she would need to do, and he put the radio in there. He put the knife in there, and he waited outside her door. This time he didn't put the plywood up. He listened. And as the man in the radio told her to do certain things with the knife to her stomach, she did it. And eventually she passed out and she bled to death, the same way her son and daughter-in-law did. Now, for the first 6 months, it's wonderful. You know, she's sick, it's notated. Maybe she didn't take her medicine that night, whatever. He thought he got away with it. He started to not be able to sleep. It was affecting his work. It got so bad that he started to see her at work and in the kitchen, and then dishes would still be getting broken, but, you know, she's dead. Apparently it was him doing it, not remembering. The guilt, the burden. What did I do? Should I have done it? Kind of thing. Did she really deserve it? Because she had been living hell for a long time. He ends up getting a sleeping aid and depression medicine. And every few months he ups it, and he ups it, and he ups it because it stops working. That's telling me the guilt was so overpowering that there was no way to get rid of what you were seeing unless you faced what you did. And he wasn't willing to do that. He wasn't going to go to the cops and say, this is what I did and why. He ended up overdosing. And now he's almost dead. When he's found, they put him in a man-made coma. And now he's at God's basement. And the operator tells him that the reason why he sounded the way he did was because he made the voice in the radio. So he's going to do what he needs to do to make you be comfortable and trust him. And that other people will have different experiences. So at the end of this trial, is what I call it, he was told that he was there because he's savable. And that he has to face what he did, take the punishment of what he did, so that he could live a normal life, and to learn by this mistake. And then he woke up from his coma. So it was a deep story. Now, did he do what he was supposed to? Because he got warned, you're in an accident or whatever, you will pass, and you won't go to God. Basically, that's what he said in a nutshell. So it was a really deep game. Especially I paid $12 for it, 3-4 hour game. Now I recorded a game called Eevee. I paid big 49 cents for it in October. It's, I think, a $2 game. And it's a walking simulator, psychological horror. And Eevee is a teenager. She crashes her bike. She's at a place that she doesn't recognize. And she starts wandering. That's when the story begins. It's less than an hour. It's 3 videos. So I'll be posting them. And then I have 4 videos recorded. Melanie from the Mila Apollo show loved the first game, Red Rum, Dead Diary. Unfortunately, I got to chapter 5, and just like I thought, because my computer crashed. Um, I would have to start the game all over again. I didn't save your information. Some games will, like Dead Rising 3 will. You can uninstall it if you need to, reinstall it, and pick up where you left off. So I'm not going to play the whole thing again. But as I said, the detective of the little girl figured out everything. The doctor um, got charged for what he did to her and other patients at a mental institution, and then he went there himself. Now he's free, and her cop brother didn't like that, so he's gonna go take matters into his own hand, figuring that his sister is now not safe. And this is where the story picks up. And it's pretty cool. You get a little map. You get to actually walk around the asylum. Many different kind of puzzles, different things to do. The puzzles are harder. Um, I played, well, I did 4 videos, so I did like maybe an hour and a half of recording, and it was really cool. But again, with my memory, I'm down to 33 gigabytes. I don't want to go under 30. So as I post and I delete, then I can go ahead and record some more. So seems like an interesting game. I just came across it by accident. So it's read from Lies, Time, or Time Lies. It's part 2 to it. So I will be recording the whole game. And I played We Happy Few. And I didn't realize how long it's been since I played until I went to actually save on my own. And it said my last save was August. But I got really far. I played over 4 hours. Next time I would play on medium settings. I really would suggest anybody, even if you never played a game like this, play it on medium. Because the easy is just way too easy. I don't know what they did. In beta, I was playing it, and I would report any bugs or things that I liked about it, how to change it, suggestions, and it was difficult. The fighting, and now it's just like 3 hits, you're dead. Boom. I mean, at one time you'll see when I do replay it, after I beat it, I'm going to replay and record it. And you'll see, like, I was 8 people and they were, like, dead. And I only had to take medicine once. It's like, okay. But it does have a story. You play as Arthur. So I went to 2 locations. Now I'm on the 3rd location. And he's starting to remember what happened. Things that he doesn't want to remember, but he's remembering. And as I said, there's 4 character slots. So I don't know when you play as the other ones. But it seems like it's going to be quite longer again than what I expected. And I already have 9 hours into the game. It doesn't give you a percentage of how far you are into the game. Side missions are optional, but you can always do them. So I'm almost out of health. So I'm going to be just wandering around, opening up the map more before I move on, and trying to make as much health as I possibly can. Because as you go to different locations, the people are healthier, and they're supposedly supposed to be tougher. So, yeah. Other than that, not too much more going on. My sister called me to tell me that my mother was in the hospital, and that she has a bladder infection, which is nothing new. And then her blood pressure was a little low, so they put her in the ICU. Now, anybody watching this and listening to what I just said, they don't put you in the ICU because your blood pressure is a little low and you have a bladder infection. They put you in the ICU for car crashes, people who need open heart surgery, things of that nature. And the last time, about a year ago, that she said she was in the ICU, we talked to the doctor, because she was, and we found out she was only there because she kept trying to leave the hospital. So they had to put her there so they could lock the door properly, because it's a sliding door. They locked it. So it wasn't because she was deathly ill. She wasn't making much sense. And she kept wanting to go outside, leave the hospital, and go to the bathroom in public. So they were just concerned if she slipped and somebody hit her driving, or if she tried to get into somebody's car or start a fight. She just wasn't making much sense. Um, so this is what she does. She'll go and have 2 doctor appointments in one day and tell you about one and make it seem a lot more than what it was. And then you play along with her. And then, you ask about what was the second one for, which was after this big major thing. And she'll be like, oh, I just had to get blood work for my thyroid. Well, they wouldn't have let you go if you're like gonna die to go get blood work for your thyroid. So this is just what she does. She over exaggerates. She drama queen. She wants people to feel bad for her. Me and my sister no longer do that. And my Auntie Mela has stopped doing that. My Auntie Mela would walk out of meetings and ask to speak to the doctor or nurse and then find out, she had a splinter and she thought it was infected and then made this big deal about how her finger was fractured. And, that just gets sickening. And I figure if it's something really serious in your ICU because you could possibly die, I think the doctor's going to try to call somebody. Just saying. But this is what she does. And I haven't heard of her being in the hospital in probably 6 months. And then she says she doesn't feel good. She doesn't feel good. She really doesn't feel good. But again, her boyfriend lives about 45 minutes away from her. He has to drive to pick her up, drive all the way back over to his house. And then she stays there for 3 days. And then he drives her all the way home. If you don't feel good, you wouldn't want to be in someone else's home like that. So if you just put the clues together, you realize she's over exaggerating. And my sister is a registered nurse. She takes care of hospice patients. So it really irks her because she's not dumb. She's been a nurse for 6 years now. And my niece, who's 23, was a nurse for the ER. And now she went back to school, full scholarship, Miami, because she wants to be a surgeon. So she gets a little irritated too. And that's about it. We were gonna go out. I mean, I wanted to go out today. We need to get some things for the house, that we can, especially laundry detergents, we could get this laundry done. Some food items. Usually the house is like really packed, but we had to wait for the bank card. We have it now, but we still haven't gone food shopping with the way that I was feeling. And, I look out the window and it's snowing. Did not say nothing about snow. I look at my weather thing on my phone all the time. I get the alerts, and it didn't say it was going to snow, and it is. It looks like about 2 inches out there already. So I'm not going anywhere because the boots I have, even though they got fur in it, the leather gets really cold, and they're not really meant to be worn in the snow. And when I tried to find new snow boots, because mine broke last year, couldn't find anything. But these kind of things, the only place you can really go to is Walmart. Walmart. That's New Hampshire. Next state over is JCPenney's. They didn't have anything. So I went to 3 different thrift stores to find boots that I do have. And with my bone disease, I can't, it hurts. And the leather gets cold. So I guess we'll wait another day or two. So I hope everybody has a great morning. I hope everybody's new year is going off to a good start. Unfortunately, my brother-in-law is not so much. The day before the 1st, his mother's car broke down again and he uses it. She can no longer drive. So she said, instead of you going and buying one, just, this is paid for. If it breaks down, you fix it, the registration taxes, you can drive it. So that's what he's been doing. And he got mad. He's like, if this happens one more time, I'm trading it in. But what he doesn't realize is that he drives 3 hours away to drop off the twins to college, to pick them back up. He does this roughly 5 times a year. And when Alex wants to go to New York to see his mother, usually he'll have to drive and drop him off, which is about 8 hours one way. And then usually she'll bring him home. Um, and then he drives around now to different schools. It's anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour away, one way, 4 days a week. So, you know, you gotta do the math. It's gonna break down. It just is. Me last year, we spent $3,000 to fix up that truck. My husband bought that truck 3 years ago. It didn't need nothing done to it. And this is just wear and tear. We live up in the mountains. Everything's far away. So he's a little teed off. All right, so I'll let everybody go. Thank you for watching. If you did, I hope you did enjoy it. And as I start to paint the house my brother-in-law gave me, I will do little updates on it so you can see what it looks like. I'm just gonna get something that will resemble snow because I'm going to make this a Christmas decoration. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a great day. I appreciate it.